A changing topic. We've been talking a lot about, Christianity in the Americas, how it was basically removed. We expelled Akhenaten and his monotheism, and then the dynasty that we expelled basically had a vendetta against Americans, and they came back through Columbus. So they had time to set it up in Africa and Europe and wherever else they went. And so when they come back to the Americas, they're coming back to kill, rape, pillage. They're mad. It's like you kicked our forefathers out, and now we're gonna come back and kick your ass. Okay, but in that you're lying, you're cheating, you're stealing. So we were just honestly not uh not happy with the remaking of the uh the deities of our ancestors. We just were not happy with that. Uh and that element got put out of the Americas. Uh they were expelled, and then it morphed into a Moses story. But even in the Moses story, okay, so we're still talking about religion, okay. Even in the Moses story, they were not brought to Egypt as slaves. Abraham didn't come to Egypt as a slave. He willfully walked into Egypt. And so you want to leave, but the way the story is told, no one forced you to come here. Well, no one in Egypt forced you to come there. But anyway, let's give that a rest for now. What I really want to talk about is more today. That is part of our history as Indians. The fact that the world decided to make us last. The Moors. It was really the Moors, because the Moors knew better. Now, Europeans might not have known about the Americas, but the Moors did. And it was up to the Moors to tell the truth, and they chose to lie. Again, that's why no one can convince me that Moors are so great and Moors are so wonderful. They're a band of thieves looking for slaves and to control all your resources. That's what Moors are all about. They are the epitome of commerce. And then when commerce comes to the Americas, it's all about taking over. Commerce literally took over our Constitution, like I said before. So that's kind of what I want to try to explain, because it's one of those things where you might have to be a little familiar with the Constitution to know how commerce is slowly but surely erasing even articles of the Bill of Rights. Okay? So this is also how we know that some element of the British nobility was able to stick something in the Constitution that they could later, it could be like an entryway to come back in to this system of government and begin to eat it from the inside out through commerce. So how does commerce eat away at the fundamental rights that are laid out in the Bill of Rights? How does commerce eat away at constitutional Bill of Rights? Well, we did give an example in the last set of videos, and that example is the example of free speech. So, free speech is a granted. Free speech is also the first in the Bill of Rights, the right to free speech. Okay, so we used that one before, but I think an even better one is the right to bear arms. Let's talk about that one, because that one I'm more clear on that one. So that's the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. As we've seen as of late, there's a push to have citizens not bear arms. But it's in the Constitution. It is an unalienable right in the Constitution. So how does a country begin to use commerce to take away a fundamental right, the Second Amendment? How does a system that really is still run by the nobility that created it? So what do you the objective now is, how do you take away all of these freedoms that these people fought for? How do you control their freedom? Well, commerce is going to call itself regulating. So it is the regulating in commerce that has the effect of stealing a citizen's rights. Now, Indians, again, we weren't supposed to be part of this system. We weren't supposed to have civil rights. We were not supposed to have any of the Bill of Rights. We were like, we were the sovereigns on the land. We had our own government. We had our own system. It wasn't supposed to be the same as the colonizer system. That's how the Constitution laid it out. So again, when you talk about the right to bear arms, it never said that you had to have a license to bear arms. Having a license is something that commerce, or the regulating of commerce, requires a license. But the Second Amendment never said that you have to have a license. Someone pointed out, a license is what you get to do something that is otherwise not permitted, or something that is not lawful, or something that is not legal. So, in other words, why do I need a license when the Constitution grants me? The Constitution doesn't say that I have to have a license. Regulation says that I have to have a license. That is a perfect example of how commerce, it eats away at your rights. And that's all we've been seeing for as long as the United States has been in existence. Commerce is behind the scenes limiting our rights. Well, not ours, okay? I forget sometimes that I'm an Indian and I'm not part of this system. So this is over 5 minutes, obviously. So, we're going on 10 minutes here. Should we stop? The Second Amendment did not say that a license is required. Now, you can get gun training but it's, in other words, there is no requirement in the Constitution that's saying you have to have a license is to do something that you're not normally allowed to do. But the Constitution allows each United States citizen to bear arms. Then why aren't they bearing arms? Oh, because the propaganda is trying to show that guns are so dangerous. Not if you police criminals. A citizen's right to bear arms it doesn't mean, it's not about, it wasn't meant for criminals, okay? Somebody using arms in a criminal way is different from a Second Amendment law-abiding citizen having arms to protect themselves against a tyrannical government. That's why it was put there. It was for citizens to be able to protect themselves if a government suddenly or over time went like this one is kind of going.